sir. I'm Detective Davis. I want to frisk you down real quick just to make sure you don't have any weapons. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Alright. You can just put your hands on your head for me. So like I said, I just want to make sure you don't have any weapons. And then Detective Angelos will be back in a second. What is this?
Just keys.
Just keys. Okay.
And chopstick, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Just the phone?
Yep.
Alright, nothing in your shoes. You'd be surprised what people carry in, man. It's just a matter of protecting ourselves, you know.
Yep.
So, alright, well I'm done. So,
Okay.
she'll be in just a second.
Alright.
It's something that we do.
Okay.
Nothing personal. Alright.
Detective Egan.
Hi,
He's sitting
Egan.
with me. This is Marcus Freeberger. Okay. So before we start, Marcus, as a formality, I always do this, but I want you to know that you came here voluntarily and you will leave here voluntarily on your own, okay? But I like to go ahead and do this just to have this on audio and video because it is being recorded so that you understand, we both understand what your rights are, okay? So I'm just going to read something to you. I'm going to have you initial each number that's on here and then I'm going to have you sign on the back, okay? Marcus, you have the right to remain silent and not make any statement at all, and that any statement you make may be used against you and probably will be used against you at your trial. Any statement you make may be used as evidence against you in court. You have the right to have a lawyer present to advise you prior to and during any questioning. If you're unable to employ a lawyer, you have the right to have a lawyer appointed to advise you prior to and during any questioning, and you have the right to terminate this interview at any time. What I need you to do is I need you to initial each line that you understand each of those rights there. Okay. And then on the back, just read that out loud for me.
I received and understand the warning on the other side of this card. I agree to waive these rights and to make a statement.
Do you understand your rights and do you waive your rights? Yep. Okay, just need you to sign that. And then the date today is the 18th of July, and it is 1:55 p.m. Okay, and if you can sign that for me, and then we'll get started. So, Mark, before we start, so Mark is like, you have a different area code. So where are you from?
What area code do you have?
I have 817.
Oh yeah, I moved here from Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay, all right. So how long have you been living here in Austin now?
2 years.
2 years, okay. What do you do for work right now?
I'm not working.
You're not working? Okay. Are you in a relationship? Do you have any children?
No.
Anything like that? Okay. So tell me, do you know anything about why I called you today? Do you have an idea?
No, I was actually hoping you could fill me in.
Okay. Okay. So what happened was back in February, I assume you were working as a talent at the W. And while you were working, I guess you were working a night shift over there. I'm not sure what your shift is, but it was during the nighttime. There was a man named Mr. Thomas Manning, who occasionally has penthouses out there or reserves them out there, the rooms out there. And on this particular night, you were working and you guys engaged in a conversation. He went up to his room and then you met up at his room for whatever reason, and he's reporting a sexual assault.
Okay.
Okay, so can you tell me more about what happened?
So Mr. Manning was a guest at the hotel quite frequently. He would berate the associates or the talent members. A few in particular that were, he was pretty unpleasant to work with. Most people didn't want to deal with him. I happened to be on that night that he was working, and he doesn't like to talk to most of the people that work there because he doesn't like it for whatever reason that might be. He's very assertive, aggressive, however you want to say that. Had me escort him up to his room. Or he had me come up to his room, one of the two. He needed something. We, as a management team, try to go above and beyond for guests. He had brought me up to the room, and he was the one who was a little bit forceful and aggressive, and I went with it. But I particularly wouldn't say that there was any assault or any sort of maliciousness on either one of our parts. Totally consensual. I do know my part in this is that I was working, and I'm very clear on that, and that's not something that the W condones. I'm very clear on that. But as far as there being any sort of sexual assault, I was completely blown away, flabbergasted, and surprised. And actually really nervous. It makes me very uncomfortable, to be honest with you.
Tell me more about why it makes you uncomfortable.
The reason it makes me uncomfortable is because I feel that Thomas Manning is a very unstable man. He scares me in the fact that this is completely bogus. He also scares me because I don't know where this is coming from. I know that I never called him back. I never initiated any sort of relationship with him, which he wanted. He wanted me, he wanted to pursue me, and I wasn't willing. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I have no idea what this has to do with anything. So it does make me nervous because he is an unstable kind of guy. From what I understand, he has a little bit of money, so that kind of scares me too, because you know how things can be with people with money. It's like you see, So yeah, it does make me a little nervous.
Well, let's go back to the very beginning. What was your shift that night?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
Okay. How long have you been working at the W?
I've been there for almost 2 years.
Okay. I understand you don't work there anymore.
I don't.
Okay. And what is the reason for that? Are your hours different? Did you have regular hours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What were
sometimes it was 7 to 3, sometimes it would be 3 to 11, sometimes it would be 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., sometimes, any...
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, it just varied.
Okay. Who was working that night at the front desk?
I truly had no idea. Like, honestly, this situation, I know this sounds bad, but it just seemed like it wasn't something that, like, stuck in my mind. I don't know, like, it's...
Do you remember anybody else that was working that particular night?
Mr. Manning was at our hotel quite often. So, yeah. I mean, it could have been several people. I don't know when he's saying this was. I don't know the date. I have no idea. And how did this come about? I guess I just have
Well, I mean, the victims have to make the report, so they are the ones that initiate the reports.
And how was this report initiated? Like, I'm just confused as to what was the
I was informed about it by the victim.
Okay, and did he just call you, or?
Pretty much.
So
he's saying this occurred the end of February.
Okay.
So February 25th, around there.
Okay. And what did he say? I mean, I heard what you said. I guess I'm just completely confused and not confused. I hear what you're saying. I'm not stupid. it's just so far out in left field for me that it's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Okay. So, before I tell you specifically what he says, and I'm going to throughout your interview ask you specific questions, but I want to hear your story first, okay? So what I want you to do is tell me, I'm going to ask you questions because you already told me your story, but I need more details, okay? So, you're working that night, Mr. Manning is not well liked by everybody over there.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yes.
I mean, is that what you're telling me?
That is absolutely true.
Okay. Have you had any contact with Mr. Manning as far as verbal contact or any kind of communication with him prior to that night?
Yes, he would call for reservations, he would call for rooms.
And you spoke to him personally?
On several occasions, all of us do. He was there often and would call at all hours of the night. If I'm not mistaken, that particular night he didn't have the money. Like something was happening with his credit card or something. And so I was the manager, and since he was one of the regular guests, it's always awkward when somebody doesn't have that kind of money. But because of his reputation at the hotel, he was not somebody. So say you came to the hotel all the time, you're friendly, we know you, and your credit card is having an issue. I would probably let you up to the room just to kind of spare you the embarrassment and let you figure it out and not be in the lobby looking like an idiot, you know. But with Mr. Manning, he was one of those people that we weren't letting back into the hotel because he wasn't pleasant in something that he wasn't somebody that we would want to make accommodations for. And so protecting myself, I wouldn't have let him into the room unless there was the money for it, because he's been known to have hustlers, he's been known to have tricks up in the room, doing drugs and all of that.
And how do we know that stuff?
For one, my experience of being involved with that. For two, seeing them by sight, seeing them leave, come.
And you know that they're going to Mr. Manning's
They're with
room?
them.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it several times.
So, so he's downstairs trying to work out his money issues as far as paying for a room that night.
Okay.
Tell me more about what you noticed about him that night.
Just the normal Mr. Manning. I can't tell you if I noticed any particular thing.
Okay.
Just his normal behavior.
And what is that?
Just like I said, he's always off.
Explain it.
He was nice to me.
Okay.
He was nice to me. That particular night, if I remember correctly, which is probably why I was trying to go above and beyond to accommodate him to make him feel a little bit easy.
Okay. So tell me more about what happened next.
He may have called and needed something. Somehow I ended up having to knock on his door. I think he had a problem with the lights and the TVs in the room or something. And, or the remote control or some audio visual issue or something like that.
Why did he go up?
That needed assistance.
Okay. Why did you go?
Why did I go?